I'm Mark Kelly in Mr. Saltwater Tank, and this is Mr. Saltwater Tank TV. Below any good saltwater tank lies a solid stand, and in my new build, I chose to go with a steel stand to leave me 100% access underneath the tank. So you can see, all these panels pop off to give me all the access underneath here so I can store all my fish stuff. And there's one set of panels that's just a little bit different. At the end of the tank and on both sides, I added 3 sets of drawers to give me easy access to things that I'm going to need every day around the tank. For example, I have my nori here, and then any flake food is also right here as well. And in the second drawer here, I have all my towels. This way when I need these items, I don't have to go diving underneath the tank. They're right here, perfectly at arm's reach. And to make things extra nice, well, I added a soft close feature to these drawers just to bump it up a notch. A saltwater tank isn't a true saltwater tank without live rock, and in my new build, I wanted to go with an eco-friendly alternative to rock that was simply hauled out of the ocean. My solution? Well, Real Reef rock. Real Reef had just come out with their 4th generation rock, and once I saw it at Magna and got my hands on it, I was sold. It was definitely 25% lighter like they claimed, and in true Mr. Saltwater Tank style, well, I wanted to change things up a little bit. Instead of getting regular Real Reef rock that has pigment added to it to make it look aged like this stuff, I asked the Real Reef boys to send me some raw unpigmented rock like this stuff. This is Real Reef rock that has no pigment added. Now I did this not because I have a problem with the pigmented stuff, I actually like the purple look. I did it because I wanted to see what kind of color that I would get once this rock had been in my tank for a couple months. Now that I had the rock picked out, it was time to aquascape the tank. Now this tank is 8 feet long and 36 inches wide, so I had lots of space that I needed to get covered. I'm not a fan of the minimalistic aquascape look, so I wanted a more fuller looking scape. However, I wanted to try something new, so I mixed in some Real Reef branch rock to give me some different type of aquascaping. Now what I did was I put it down lower in the aquascape. This way I could elevate my rocks off the sand bed. Let's give it a branching look, almost like the branches were diving down into the sand. I've been on reefs, I saw this, and this is something that I wanted to emulate. So the Real Reef branch went down first, and then I added the Real Reef rock on top of it. This also kept my aquascape very open, with lots of cave and crevices for fish to swim through. One of the most important decisions you can make around a saltwater tank is, what are you going to use for lighting your reef tank? And on my new build, I thought about using just LEDs. And I said, nah, everyone's expecting me to use just LEDs. So then I thought about using just T5s. I said, nah, I don't want to do that. And then I thought, well, let's go old school style and use just metal halides. I said, nah, I don't want to do that either. Instead, well, I chose to use one of each. Why the 3 different types of lighting? Well, I did it because I wanted to run an experiment. And the experiment looks like this. I'm going to take 3 pieces of the same type of coral and place one under each type of lighting. So one will go under LEDs, one will go under T5s, and one will go under the metal halide. Since the water chemistry is the same, I can then observe any changes in growth patterns and color patterns under the different types of lighting. I'm interested to see how this turns out in time. I certainly expect some differences in color patterns, and I'll be interested to see if I get some differences in growth patterns just because of the different lights that those corals are under. Now I'm mainly going to focus with acros because those have a history of changing colors under different types of lighting. And as the experiment expands, I'll look at adding different types of corals in there as well. The LED portion of the lighting on my new build is comprised of 3 eco-exotic 100-watt cannons. Now why use eco-exotic cannons when I usually use Ecotech marine radions? Well, it wasn't because I didn't think that the radions couldn't get the job done. I use those on plenty of client builds, and they're more than capable of lighting even this deep of a tank. I went with the eco-exotic cannons because I couldn't call myself Mr. Saltwater Tank if I didn't try something new. And I hear a lot of hype about multi-chip LEDs, and Eco-Exotic has a long history of success with their multi-chip LEDs, so I wanted to give them a shot. Now these lights are 100 watts each, and they crank out tons of light. I have them running at about 30% overall intensity, and I'm still getting over 150 par at the sand bed. I'm looking forward to getting some coral in the tank and acclimated to these lights. Now, I don't think I'll ever run them at 100% intensity, because if I did, I'd probably fry any coral that's underneath them. Even though I'm not going to crank them all the way up though, I'm excited to see what kind of coral growth I'm going to get out of these cannons. One challenge with Peninsula tank is getting alternating and random flow in the tank. So the last thing you want to do is put power heads on the side or the end of the tank, and I certainly was going to put a closed loop on its tank. So how did I solve the flow problem? Well, part of what I did was use a flow diverter in the form of this Duracroon here. This will alternate flow among the different nozzles, returning water to the tank to help break up the flow a little bit. Now, unfortunately, I've used a Duracroon on a couple client builds, and they've had a pretty poor track record. Every single one that I've installed has either leaked out of the box or it's failed very quickly thereafter. And speak of the devil, this one actually failed yesterday morning, so it's going to become off my tank, and I'm switching to the more reliable Oceans Motions unit. I hear lots of good things about the Oceans Motions. It has a proven track record, so we'll see how it holds up on my new build. Now that the tank is built, the only thing left to do is stuff it full of coral and wait for it to grow up like these two little munchkins. I'm Mark Callie and Mr. Saltwater Tank. This has been Mr. Saltwater Tank TV. Till next time, have a good one, enjoy your tanks, and know your tank personality.